By the people, for the people. The Gathering to Get Healthcare Now by Don McCormick. Chapter 2. Schumacher's explanation of the 6 ideas. These 6 great ideas have not been verified, even though they represent tremendous leaps of the imagination into the unknown and unknowable. Of course, the leap is taken from a small platform of observed fact. These ideas could not have lodged themselves as firmly in men's minds as they have done if they did not contain important elements of truth. But their essential character is their claim of universality. Evolution takes everything into its stride. Not only material phenomena from the nebulae to Homo sapiens, but also the mental phenomena such as religion or language, competition, natural selection, and the survival of the fittest are not presented as one set of observation among others, but as universal laws. Man does not say that some parts of history are made up of class struggles. No. Scientific materialism, not very scientifically, extends this partial observation to nothing less than the whole of the history of all hitherto existing society. Freud, again, is not content to report a number of clinical observations, but offers universal theory of human motivation, asserting, for instance, that all religion is nothing but an obsessional neurosis. Relativism and positivism, of course, are purely metaphysical doctrines, with the peculiar and ironical distinction that they deny the validity of all metaphysics, including themselves. What do these 6 large ideas have in common besides their non-empirical, metaphysical nature? They all assert that what had previously been taken to be something of a higher order is really nothing but a subtle manifestation of the lower, unless indeed the very distinction between higher and lower is denied. Thus man, like the rest of the universe, is really nothing but an accidental collocation of atoms. The difference between a man and a stone is little more than a deceptive appearance. Man's highest cultural achievements are nothing but disguised economic greed, or the outflow of sexual frustrations. In any case, it's meaningless to say that man should aim at the higher rather than the lower, because no intelligible meaning can be attached to the purely subjective notions like higher and lower, while the word should is just a sign of authoritarian megalomania. These 19th century ideas are firmly lodged in the minds of practically everybody in the Western world today, whether educated or uneducated. In the uneducated mind, they are still rather muddled and nebulous, too weak to make the world intelligible. Hence the longing for education, for something that will lead us out of the dark wood of muddled ignorance and into the light of understanding. This dark wood of muddled ignorance has led the elite and powerful people who control medicine and insurance away from trying to understand economics and allowed them to infect almost everyone in the world with irrational systems of funding healthcare. Ones in which the delivery of healthcare is judged based on whether it is producing a profit and not on whether it is effective and available when and where it is needed. The physical world, as economists see us, is built on measures and weights and the movement of those things in relationship to each other. Economists have assigned values to classes of those things that are traded between people, assigning arbitrary values to different classes of measurable things is arbitrary, regardless of how it is represented. Silver, gold, paper, promissory notes, electronic records. So, before the notion of medical economics is the issue of money and the arbitrarily uneconomic nature of most of the goods and services that are exchanged, these things must be resolved. As Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said in The Little Prince, grown-ups love figures. When you tell them you've made a new friend, they never ask you any questions about essential matters. They never say to you, what does his voice sound like? What games does he love best? Does he collect butterflies? Instead, they demand, how old is he? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only from these figures do they think they've learned anything about him. Now, in the book, when the prince talked to the accountant and asked what he was doing, the accountant said he was naming the stars so that he could be their discoverer. The prince replied, you alone will have the stars, as no one else has them. In one of the stars I shall be living. In one of them I shall be laughing. And so it will be as if all the stars were laughing when you look at the sky at night. You, only you, will have stars that can laugh. This point is missed in weights and measures and money by contemporary economists and made in the arguments by E.F. Schumacher in his book Small is Beautiful. There is an order higher than money and counting, and it was lost in the 6 great ideas of the 19th century. It must be recovered in a joyful way, as the Little Prince tells us. Purpose sets up what is economical and allows for an understanding of things as they really are.